Because the soul of this nation is strong, because the backbone of this nation is strong, because the people of this nation are strong, the State of the Union is strong.
Off the top at 11, President Biden addressing the American people and a Republican-led House in his second State of the Union address. President Biden touting his administration's accomplishments, including record job growth.
And the president also calling on Congress to work together instead of fighting. RTC Bureau Chief Ben Kennedy live in Washington tonight with much more. Ben.
Calvin, Nicole, President Biden talked about the economy, infrastructure, police reform, and debt, hoping his words gets lawmakers to work together to pass new laws.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
President Biden before a joint session of Congress Tuesday to deliver his second State of the Union address.
Speaker, I don't want to ruin your reputation, but I look forward to working with you.
He touted legislative wins when it comes to infrastructure, highlighted the latest economic numbers, with jobs up and unemployment down amid inflation.
Today, COVID no longer controls our lives. And 2 years ago, democracy faced its greatest threats in the Civil War. And today, though bruised, our democracy remains unbowed and unbroken.
With Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy over his shoulder, Biden called on lawmakers to work together during a divided Congress, something South Florida representatives tell Local 10 they can do.
Once we go back and we realize who we're fighting for, we're really not that different.
So if he's willing to work in a nonpartisan or a bipartisan way, he'll be able to move things forward.
We've got to make sure that we work together to be pragmatic about our spending.
The American people know that when bills come, it has to get paid. So I look forward to working with Republicans, on a bipartisan basis to do that.
Congress has until June to strike a deal to raise the debt ceiling and avoid defaulting on $31 trillion in debt.
The idea is that we're not going to be moved into being threatened to default on the debt if we don't respond.
When it comes to foreign policy, his remarks come during Russia's war in Ukraine, in days after the U.S. shot down a suspected Chinese surveillance balloon.
Was shot down after it completed its mission. So no, obviously you can tell I'm not real happy with the president's performance.
As the commander-in-chief told Congress to pass new legislation on police reform.
Communities need to work together to ease that tension. That's what we do in Miami.
Renewed calls for change come after the death of 29-year-old Tyree Nichols, whose parents were invited to attend the president's speech.
But what happened to Tyree in Memphis happens too often. We have to do better. Give law enforcement the real training they need. Hold them to higher standards. Help them succeed in keeping us safe.
And Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders just delivered the GOP response to President Biden's State of the Union address.
President Biden inherited the fastest economic recovery on record, the most secure border in history, cheap, abundant, homegrown energy, fast rising wages, a rebuilt military, and a world that was stable and at peace. But over the last 2 years, Democrats destroyed it all.
And President Biden is taking today's message on the road. Tomorrow he will be traveling to Wisconsin. It is there he will deliver remarks on the economy. Reporting live on Capitol Hill, Ben Kennedy, Local 10 News.